Hello my lovely boys and girls. Welcome to Blow Up, where Reddit's spiciest stories explode. Today we've got 6 AITA showdowns, think concussions, stranded uncles and graduation snubs. Ready for the drama? Smash that like button, subscribe and let's dive into the Reddit wildfire. After work I was playing with my son and went to the kitchen to throw out a diaper. When I walked into the room my wife started shouting at me, claiming I hadn't been doing anything since I got home. Mind you, I had just spent 2 hours cleaning the kitchen, washing dishes, picking up the living room and putting my daughter to bed before going to the living room to play with my son while I continued to pick up. I was frustrated by her comment and asked her what she meant and outlined everything I had been doing. I left the room and started to walk up the stairs to my living room. I was struck in the side of head with a sealed cardboard box weighing about 2 pounds. This was from about 15 feet away and thrown at full force, so I was dazed for a moment. After confronting her about why she did this, she continued to yell at me and didn't show any concern. Upset and in quite a bit of pain I went to sit with my son and process what had just happened. After about 45 minutes I was experiencing a growing headache, and having some problems with the muscles in the right side of my face and jaw. I gave her my son and told her I had to go to the ER because something wasn't right. I ended up spending the night in a hotel, and the next day began contacting resources and scheduling follow medical and mental health appointments. The headache lasted 8 days and I experienced a wide range of symptoms related to head injury. I missed over a full week of work, and it has been a pretty difficult experience navigating all my emotions while recovering, and experiencing some bizarre cognitive issues. Needless to say I've been keeping my distance from my wife while I've been recovering. Over the last few years I've also been dealing with regular emotional abuse in the form of insults, constant belittling and threats of divorce. This is probably the 6th incident of violent behavior from her in the last 7 years, and the only time she had used an object, and I have serious concern that she could have just as easily thrown something that could have broken my skull. I'm now seriously concerned about what will happen next time, and I'm not willing to wait and find out only to realize I should have left long ago. She has no diagnosed mental health disorders, but how out of control she is when she is angry is now very alarming, and it seems to be escalating. Additionally, she refuses to apologize for any of her words or actions since I met her, even after a diagnosed concussion. All she will say regarding this event are things like, "You know I didn't mean it, I can't aim that well." Over the last week I was essentially living in a blacked out bedroom and listening to audiobooks between my frequent naps. Up to yesterday I have avoided engaging her in conversation, or anything that seems like I'm being baited into an argument. I don't have the mental or emotional capacity to handle an emotionally charged conversation, and wanted to focus on my recovery. Last night I told her I've been walking on eggshells around her for the last year. I'm not comfortable being around her and don't see there being any way to mend the relationship after this. I just don't see myself being able to emotionally open up to someone who has injured me, ever. Her response has been to schedule marriage counseling, and she keeps making strange comments about how I have to be willing to make it work for counseling to be effective. She don't seem to have the ability to understand that this won't ever be water under the bridge, and that she's destroyed what was left of our relationship, which isn't much as there has been no physical intimacy in 2 years due to some medical complications from the pregnancy and birth of our son. She refuses any physical contact, and lately I have been struggling with the idea of continuing to live this strange celibate lifestyle for the sake of maintaining a stable home for my children. I've been open about this with my close friends and mentors, and know I need to leave because domestic violence rarely stops, and I want better for myself and my children. I decided to pursue divorcing her, and I think a large part of telling so many people is to force my own hand due to the embarrassment and shame that staying with her would cause. I told the therapist this and that I want his help navigating towards this goal, but I'm having a very hard time. I'm struggling with the idea of tearing my family apart and the effect it will have on my 4-year-old daughter. Today she was being unusually sweet and wanted to sit with me. When I refused she made me out to be the asshole, and accused me of not wanting to try. I feel like I'm being heavily manipulated and my desire to be the peacemaker and nurturer is being twisted against me. When I mentioned this she got highly offended, and accused me of wanting to destroy our family. This has been a wild experience and has been difficult to process. I have no experience with emotional or physical abuse in a relationship prior to this. Am I being the asshole for refusing to entertain opening up to her, or participate in couples therapy due to fear of being manipulated? Should I stick to what I know to do intellectually, and totally ignore my emotions and stick to my initial instinct to leave her? I can't believe the level of support I've gotten since posting this. Most of you shared the same message and I really appreciate that. There was quite a bit of very thoughtful advice and many points I hadn't considered. I've made up my mind to stick to my intuition and move on from this relationship. My biggest concern is now for my children, and I hadn't really considered what would happen to them if she didn't have me as an outlet for her anger. This afternoon I spoke to a highly recommended attorney and she agreed to represent me and is helping to file a protection order. I really appreciate the effort that everyone put into helping me get my head straight, and intend to follow up with several of you directly. Wife threw a box, OP got a concussion, divorce time. I bet she's still dodging apologies while he's dodging objects. Someone get her anger management and OP a survivor medal, marriage mayhem over. That's a domestic disaster. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for wanting divorce, or is wife's violence unforgivable? Would you leave too or try counseling? How do you handle abuse? Drop your take below. And if you've escaped toxicity, spill it. I'm craving more blow-up-worthy escapes. This happened last weekend and I still feel like I'm vibrating with rage. I, 26F, was driving my uncle, 56M, to a family reunion because his car is in the shop and my aunt had other plans. I was doing it as a favor. He helped out a lot when I was a kid, and even though we've grown apart, I figured I could suck it up for a few hours. Big mistake. The second we got on the highway, he started in with his usual Fox News style nonsense. At first, I just zoned out. But then we passed a billboard in Spanish and he went on this rant like, "This is America. If you can't read English, get the hell out." I told him to chill, and he immediately shot back with some garbage about how, "You can't say anything anymore without the woke mob coming for you." I tried to change the subject, but it just got worse. He started going off about how women these days just want to cry about equality while letting men in dresses take over their sports, and how, we used to be a strong country before we let the immigrants and feminists ruin it. I told him I wasn't going to listen to that kind of hate in my car. He laughed. Told me I was being emotional, and that, this is why women shouldn't be in charge of anything serious. So I pulled over at the next rest stop, told him to get out, and when he realized I was serious, he called me a disrespectful little girl. I told him, better a disrespectful girl than a hateful old man, and I drove off. He was stranded for 4 hours before some family friend picked him up. Now half the family is furious with me. My mom says I embarrassed the whole family. My cousin texted me calling me a liberal snowflake. My aunt blocked me. Apparently he was visibly shaken when he arrived, like he hadn't just spent the whole ride spewing poison. But here's the thing, I'm not sorry. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're from a different time. If you talk about people like they're less than human, you don't deserve the comfort of my car, my time, or my silence. So yeah, maybe I caused drama. But I'm done making myself small to keep the peace for men like him. Uncle's hate got him hitchhiking, poetic. I bet he's still ranting while OP's cruising free. Someone get him a muzzle and OP a zero tolerance badge. Road trip redemption rocks. That's a rest stop rebellion. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for stranding uncle, or was his hate too much? Would you ditch him too or endure? How do you handle toxic family? Drop your take below. And if you've cut off a relative, spill it. I'm ready for more blow-up-worthy stands. I, 29F, am currently 34 weeks pregnant with our first baby. My husband, Jake, 31M, and I are beyond excited, and for the most part things have been going well, except for one major stressor. His mother, let's call her Diane. Diane, 60F, has always been a little intense. She's the kind of person who believes she's always right, always knows best, and if she's not in control of a situation, she spirals. But pregnancy seems to have sent her into some sort of control freak overdrive. From the minute we announced the pregnancy, she's treated it like her event. Not something we're going through as a couple, but some sort of live-action roleplay of the grandmother's journey. It started with small stuff, texting me daily with advice I never asked for, dropping off old baby clothes she insisted we had to use, constantly asking about names, genders, how much weight I'd gained. But when I set small boundaries, like asking her to text a little less or reminding her that we wouldn't be sharing the baby's name until after the birth, she got passive-aggressive. Oh, I guess you don't want me involved. I'm just trying to help. This is my first grandchild, you know? It escalated when she found out I didn't want her at every prenatal appointment. She showed up to one uninvited. Literally just walked into the waiting room and told the nurse she was with me. I was mortified. Jake had a talk with her afterward and told her she needed to back off, and to his credit, he's been trying to stand up to her more. But Diane has always had a hold on him emotionally. Guilt trips are her specialty. He's working on it and I do give him grace, but it's been rough. Then came the name issue. Jake and I decided early on that we weren't sharing the name before the baby is born. We wanted to keep that decision between us, partly because we didn't want opinions and partly just to preserve something special for us. We told Diane this clearly. She did not take it well. She kept suggesting names anyway, constantly. And not normal, oh I like this suggestions. No. Diane was sending us long emails with name origin breakdowns, family tree spreadsheets, and pushing hard for us to name the baby Harold William after her father. We don't like the name. It's not our style. And we said no multiple times. She kept pushing. I once caught her referring to the baby as Little Harold at a family barbecue. When I corrected her, she rolled her eyes and said, "You'll come around once you realize it's what's right." She even hand-crocheted a baby blanket with Harold Jr. stitched on it. Jake told her, again, to stop and she cried, saying I was alienating her from her grandchild. Fast forward to last weekend. Jake's grandparents hosted a big family dinner, about 20 people, sort of a spring/Easter celebration and low-key baby celebration too. I was hesitant about going, but Jake really wanted to, and I didn't want to start more drama. Dinner starts off okay. A little tense. Diane was clearly giving me the cold shoulder, but fine. Then halfway through the meal, Diane taps her wine glass with a spoon to get everyone's attention. I'm already getting a bad feeling. She stands up and says, "Since the baby's arrival is getting so close, I've decided it's time to share his name with the family." Jake and I immediately looked at each other like, what the actual hell? I shook my head slightly, trying to warn her off. She continues, "His name will be Harold after my beloved father. We're so honored to welcome little Harold into the world." The entire room goes dead silent. Jake looks like someone just unplugged his brain. I said calmly but clearly, "Diane, that is not the baby's name. We've told you this multiple times." She snaps. She starts yelling that I'm manipulating Jake, that I'm stealing her grandson, that I've pushed her out of this pregnancy, and now I'm erasing her family legacy. Then, in a full-blown tantrum, she grabs me and slaps me. I slapped her back. Jake's grandfather, bless him, stood up immediately and said, "That's enough. I'm calling the police." Diane screamed that she was being assaulted, then tried to leave, but Jake's cousin blocked the door. Cops came. She was arrested. Now, the fallout that happened last week. Jake's family is mostly on our side. Everyone saw what happened. But a few of his aunts are saying we should have just let her have the name moment, and that I escalated things by challenging her publicly. My email is, of course, painting herself as the victim and saying I had her arrested to punish her for loving her grandson. I'll named the baby, got arrested, epic. I bet she's still yelling Harold in jail while OP's dodging blankets. Someone get her a chill pill and OP a boundary queen crown, name drama nuked. That's a pregnancy plot twist. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for the arrest, or is MIL out of control? Would you call cops too or de-escalate? How do you handle boundary stompers? Drop your take below. And if you've faced ML madness, spill it. I'm hungry for more blow-up-worthy chaos. My ex-wife died a couple of days ago. We shared a daughter, 14, together. Our divorce was not on the best of terms. We were both at fault. Nobody cheated. But we weren't the best spouses to each other. For a long time we both tried to put our daughter first. But after I remarried, things did change. My ex alienated our daughter against my wife. I did what I could to stop it, and I made sure I tried to counteract what my ex was doing. I did fight my ex in court over it. But my ex did successfully alienate our daughter against my wife. This was 4 years ago. My wife was pregnant at the time, so it was stressful when we realized what was happening, and my wife and daughter do not have a close or healthy relationship. My daughter shuts my wife out because of what her mom has said. She has at times been rude to my wife, and I have stepped in to tell her she cannot be like that. I told her I can't make her love or be close to my wife, but she must be respectful. The rudeness was never a big problem, but the rejection of a relationship has remained consistent. Now my ex-wife is dead and my daughter's grieving. My daughter has stated clearly she does not want my wife or my son, 3.5, there. My wife wants to go to the funeral. She said my daughter will always remember her not being there for her and keeping her brother away from supporting her if we listen. She said at the very least she must be there. That maybe our son is too young. But as her stepmom, if she doesn't show up and show she loves her, things will never get better. My daughter screamed at the top of her lungs yesterday because she heard my wife say she wants to come and support my daughter. My daughter stated it very aggressively and in a state of raw grief that my wife will not be a comfort because she hated her mom and nobody wants her there. I told my wife not to come. I said I will be there. And I know my daughter has mixed feelings about me being there, but she ultimately wants me there. My wife expressed that she worried it was a big risk and my daughter would remember it as her not being supportive later. And I said potentially it could. But it could also show my daughter that she's willing to respect her boundaries. That she's not trying to take her mom's place. I told my wife it will be more difficult now because my daughter's mom is dead and it can be hard to see the flaws in people's actions when we lose them too soon, and I feel deep down that if she shows up my daughter will turn against her more. My daughter sought the advice of the family therapist we have visited over the years and the therapist agreed with me. But my wife was upset. She told me she wanted my support and that she felt like I was encouraging her to not be a good stepmom. Stepmom's banned, daughter's grieving, tough call. I bet wife's still debating attendance while OP's playing peacemaker. Someone get her a boundary guide and OP a diplomat dad, hat. Funeral friction fizzled. That's a funeral fallout. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for siding with daughter, or is wife's support valid? Would you bar her too or push inclusion? How do you handle stepfamily grief? Drop your take below. And if you've navigated blended family drama, share it. I'm dying for more blow-up-worthy tales. My brother Tom, 34M, recently got engaged to Melissa, 32F, who has a 6-year-old son Dylan, changed the names. Last weekend I, 29F, was babysitting Dylan while they went out for dinner. Dylan was playing with some toys when he accidentally broke a glass figurine. He immediately started crying and said, "Please don't tell my mom. She'll give me the quiet time." I asked what quiet time meant, and Dylan explained that when he misbehaves, Melissa makes him kneel facing a wall for an hour, sometimes longer if he cries or moves. If he speaks, she adds more time. This shocked me, but I kept calm and told him accidents happen. When Tom and Melissa returned, I told Tom privately what Dylan had shared. Tom defended her, saying I don't understand parenting and that Dylan is dramatic. He claimed it's just a timeout, and I'm overreacting. I later confronted Melissa directly, telling her I thought her quiet time punishment was excessive and potentially abusive. She completely flipped out, saying I had no right to question her parenting when I don't have kids. She accused me of trying to sabotage their relationship and twisting a child's words. Now my entire family is divided. My parents think I should apologize for overstepping, while my sister agrees with me that the punishment sounds problematic. Tom is demanding I apologize to Melissa before their wedding. I refuse to apologize for speaking up about something that seems wrong to me. Making a child kneel silently for extended periods doesn't seem like appropriate discipline. But now I'm uninvited from their wedding and causing family drama. AITA for refusing to let this go and apologize? Fiancé's quiet time, got loud drama, busted. I bet she's still defending it while OP's wedding free. Someone get her a parenting book and OP a kid defender badge. Family feud fired up. That's a parenting powder keg. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for calling out fiancé? Or is her discipline dodgy? Would you speak up too or stay quiet? How do you handle bad parenting? Drop your take below. And if you've clashed over kids, spill it. I'm starving for more blow-up-worthy battles. I, 46F, have a daughter Stella, 20F, from my first marriage to Hank, husband number 1, 53M. I'm proud of Stella, who she is, and her accomplishments, one of which is graduating university this year. Stella wants me to be at her graduation ceremony, which I'm thrilled to do. But she specifically doesn't want my husband number 3, Mark, 31M, to attend. She reasons it's because Hank and his parents will be there. She knows my marriage to Hank was a traumatic one. She doesn't know all the details, but she did witness one egregious incident when she was 13, and therefore I'm not comfortable being around him, unless I have someone with me for support. She reasoned that my husband number 2, Randy, 59M, and his family were invited so they could do that for me. That is true. Randy and I are still good friends, we care about each other, I love his family and vice versa, they've embraced Mark, we're even having joint Thanksgivings and Christmases, it's all very chill among these two families. But it still feels like a slap in the face that my spouse is excluded. Yes, there's an age gap between Mark and me, but it's not glaringly obvious in real life. There's also a class difference as everybody else involved is middle class, and Mark is from a working class background and the only one without a college education. But he's not coarse by any means, he's intelligent and self-aware, and he can fit in very well, as evidenced by Randy's family embracing him. Mark and I have been married for 2 years, together for 4, so it's not a brand new relationship. He's never assumed a stepfather role with Stella, since it would have been ludicrous given their ages, and that she was on the brink of adulthood when we got together. Nevertheless, they get along, communicate well, and help each other out when needed. As far as I know, nothing negative or untoward has happened. Stella was fine with Mark's presence when him and I were initially involved, but as our relationship progressed, she had made clear her disapproval. In her words, I was wasting my potential with someone like him. Mark had a history of addiction, but he was sober when we met. While he did a setback in his sobriety due to an accident that had left him physically disabled and in constant pain, he was able to come through it and has now been sober for almost 2 years. He's never been harsh towards me. He does things every day to make my life better, even in small ways. We love each other very much, even if we're not a PDA couple, other than a quick hug here and there. So it does sting to have Mark excluded from this major milestone in my family's life, while Hank and Randy are included. Okay, maybe it's weird to have 3 of my partners over the course of my life there. But isn't it more weird for me to be there without my actual husband of 2 years? AITA for feeling like Stella should make room for Mark? Stepdad snubbed, mom stung, graduation grief. I bet Stella's dodging Mark while exes party. Someone get her a family chart and OP a loyal wife, pin, diploma drama delivered. That's a graduation gut punch. AITA verdict. Is OP the asshole for being upset, or is Stella's choice fair? Would you push for Mark's invite or respect her? How do you handle blended family events? Drop your take below. And if you face stepfamily snubs, share it. I'm starving for more blow-up worthy clashes. Wow, blow-up fam, those AITAs were pure dynamite. Which showdown had you shook? Tell me below. I'm reading every comment. Smash that like button and subscribe for more Reddit chaos. Thanks for vibing with me. Next time we've got crazier tales. You won't want to miss it. Catch you then.